All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take, brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union, Welch and Company Jewelers, and Hides of Liverpool. Visit hidesofliverpool.com today and get the mobile unit for any event in the summer of 2021. Dustin Johnson, the Masters champion, what a year he has had, by the way. Not only winning the Masters, but he's won the Northern Trust, he won the Travelers, and won the Tour Championship. And when you look at this guy, I think when the entire tour is lined up, from Justin Thomas to Koepka to DeChambeau to Johnson to Rory to every other player who's on the tour right now. And you said if they're all at their best, if they're all playing their A plus golf, who's the best golfer in the world? And I think Dustin Johnson's probably proved that he is the guy. And, for a guy who's had a lot of heartbreak, I mean, you go all the way back 10 years ago, think about the 82 in the final round at Pebble Beach in the U.S. Open. Think about that same year, just a couple of months later, less than a couple of months later, you had the PGA Championship, of course, where he grounded a club in what he thought was a waste area, and it was actually a bunker. So he loses a couple strokes there and loses. Fast forward 5 years to 2015 at Chambers Bay. On the 72nd hole, 15 feet away, he three putts and loses to the U.S. Open again. He's had multiple failures in the Masters. Here's a guy who, years and years ago won his first tournament at the Turning Stone Invitational. I think everybody, including myself, who was following that tournament, said, wow, this guy's a star in the making. But then he got caught up in the fame. He started to, tamper and mess around with drugs, and especially, cocaine was most notable. Was a big party guy from the South, coastal Carolina, etc. He left college early to become pro, and he's just a guy who's really, I think, has backed away and took some major time. He's engaged to Paulina Gretzky. He's been engaged, I should say, for 5 years. Not sure what the weight is on that, but with two kids and has just completely been grounded and has taken a step back. And I probably would agree with Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas and many other players who have said this, but Dustin Johnson is the most easy, personality to collide with the game of golf. Hey, Dustin, we're going to be playing the Masters in November, and it's going to be COVID and no fans. Okay. Hey, Dustin, you're going to three putt at the U.S. Open, but you'll be okay. Okay. All the things that I mentioned that happened in 2010 at the U.S. Open at Pebble, and of course at Whistling Straits in the PGA Championship. He just kind of hums it and keeps playing. And with that, he put the work in. I think the prodigy part is one thing for an athlete. And I've always really tipped my cap to LeBron James with this. You can have all the talent in the world, but are you going to put the work in? And when Dustin Johnson met Paulina Gretzky and met the Gretzky family, obviously, and Wayne Gretzky, teaching him work ethic. And, of course, Dustin Johnson had a very, very tough period of time. His parents divorced. He lost contact with his dad. Doesn't really have that major father figure in his life. And Wayne Gretzky basically took over that role for Dustin Johnson. He taught him, the value of hard work. You've got the talent. You're probably the most talented, purely talented player on the tour. But if you work your tail off, you're going to go ahead and win a ton of majors. And he used examples. He used Tiger Woods. He used many others. And look at Dustin Johnson now. Bryson DeChambeau came in and said he was going to play the Masters at a 67 clip. We've heard Brooks Koepka talk a ton of shit, and rightfully so lately. He's got, 4 majors? And there's been a lot of guys who have been labeled, Rory McIlroy was labeled as a guy who was going to probably challenge Tiger, right? Which I don't think anybody's going to challenge Tiger alive right now. But, who's going to be the next guy? Who's going to be the guy to maybe take the throne? Who's going to take, the torch from Tiger Woods? And Tiger winning the Masters last year, is he going anywhere? Is he not? I think Tiger, even though he had a 10 on number 12 on Sunday, battled back with 5 birdies in the last 6 holes. Unbelievable mental strength to do that. But the guy who maybe is ready to roll to take the torch, and I'm not saying he's going to be Tiger Woods or eclipse Tiger Woods, but maybe the guy who, after all, is the best player on tour. It isn't Rory, and it isn't Brooks Koepka, and it isn't going to be DeChambeau, and it wasn't Jordan Spieth all along, although I think he'll be back as well. He's just kind of in a little bit of a rut, and that's what golf will do to you. It will humble you in the worst possible way for a long time, and you go with the ups and you go with the downs. But maybe the guy's Dustin Johnson, Johnson, when everybody, again, is at their best, from DeChambeau to Koepka to Rory to Justin Thomas to everybody in between, maybe when everybody has their A-plus game, the best player of them all is Dustin Johnson. And he showed at the Masters an unbelievable historical performance, and now has 2 major titles. He's knocked on the door a million times as well. So a lot of those top 3, top 5, top 10 finishes look even better because he's got a couple of majors to go with them. It's kind of like the Tampa Bay Lightning situation that happened. They finally won. You knock on the door a bunch of times, you don't have the title, and it looks bad, but all of a sudden you win the title, and those runner-ups look good, and being a contender every year looks even better as well. Well, Dustin Johnson now is in that category, and I'm telling you right now, I'm thrilled for the guy. I think he's going to win a bunch more tournaments. I think he's got a couple more majors in him, and he's going to go into the Golf Hall of Fame one day, and just a historical performance. But you put them all in line and they're all at their best, hard to argue against Dustin Johnson being the #1 player, not just from a ranking standpoint, but from a total package standpoint. Hitting the ball long, that's not just what he does. He has hit the great shots, the greens in regulation, and he has just completely limited the amount of putts in major play as well, and put the work in. Dustin Johnson, your 2020 Masters champ. I'm Mike Lindsley, ML Sports Take, brought to you by C&Y Electrical, our good friends at Pellerer Contracting, Brewerton Specialties, Bear Creek Restaurant, and our terrific buddies over at the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.